I'm following these bushfire cases, and there's another one. This one happened mid-August 2023, about 2 weeks before Adam's case I talked about in the previous parts in this series. I will call this defendant Ben. He's 23 years old and he's charged with 2 counts of intentionally cause fire and be reckless as to its spread. Police are alleging he lit 2 fires here in Singleton. Ben was arrested a couple of hours after the 2 fires and police granted bail. There was a police media release the next day, and it doesn't name him, just gives the details of the charge and some of the details around the fires. One newspaper prints a story with very similar details as the police media release and no name. The headline reads, "Man 23 charged with arson after firefighters police called to 2 Singleton grass fires." The first court mention is in September, where bail was continued and no plea was entered. Here the media name Ben. What happens next makes this case different to Adam's. Police issue another media release in October. What's happened is Ben was arrested again, charged, but this time police refused bail. It goes to Scone local court the next day. Unfortunately, I missed the court date, and the media release comes out after the court appearance at about 4 p.m. that afternoon. Ben has been charged with another account of intentionally cause fire and be reckless as to its spread. Police allege he's lit another fire in Singleton. This allegedly occurred while he was on bail for the 2 previous bushfire offences. The court grants bail. There are no details of what was considered during the bail process. The headlines read, "Singleton man, Ben's real name, allegedly lit grass fire while on bail for other arson offences." There are no details in the newspapers about the bail discussion. My thoughts? There's something going on with this defendant. I have 0 details. I need to consider sitting in the gallery and finding out more. I watch the court list and Ben's case reappears on the list. It's October 2023 and it's about 67 days since Ben's legal proceedings started, since he's been arrested the first time. The case is listed in Singleton local court. I decided to ditch another case I'm following and come up to Singleton. I'm interested to find out more about this case and I'm not sure if the papers will report on it. I get into the gallery here early this time. I must have looked super keen. However, there's already one person in the gallery. I recognise him. He's a journo. Court is supposed to start at 9:30. However, it's decided it won't start until 10 o'clock. I have no idea why. There's only 10 cases listed. I know the name, but I'm not sure which person standing out the front here is Ben. So waiting. Singleton has a spiral staircase in the corner of the gallery, just as a bit of interest. Court starts. There's a case about a guy in custody because of summary offending. There's a traffic offender, then assault, then another assault. This one I noticed the magistrate picks up on the fact that the accused has decided to write a letter of apology to the victim. The magistrate discusses some of the possible benefits to the victim and encourages the police to give the victim the option of receiving the letter. The magistrate then goes on to discuss how there was once a forum where people manned up and faced their victim. I thought this discussion reminded me of some aspects of Aboriginal law I've been reading about, the custom of meeting, negotiating and restoring balance as a way of addressing some offences. Anyways, the defendant was required to pay the damage to the victim's glasses, sentenced to an 18-month community corrections order and required to do 100 hours of community service. Then Ben's case is heard. Ben is present and his solicitor does all the talking. It only lasted a couple of minutes and it was just seeking to vary an address within the bail conditions. Bail condition was varied, bail was continued, that was it. By the way, just because you hear someone's address in open court doesn't mean you can repeat it. There are rules about disseminating personal information from legal proceedings regardless of any suppression or non-publication orders. Then there's a case about a guy and a gun, and then another assault, and then morning tea was called. In summary, it was a nice morning in Singleton and I discovered nothing.